It's Friday evening. Your phone lights up. A group chat. Someone's planning something, a dinner, a party, a casual get-together that you already know won't feel casual at all. And something inside you tightens. Not because you hate people, not because you're broken, not because something went wrong in your childhood, although we'll get to that. It tightens because every cell in your body is saying the same quiet thing. I just want to stay home. You on the couch, the blanket, the book you're halfway through, or the show you've been saving, or honestly, nothing at all. Just stillness. But then comes the second feeling, the one that's heavier than the first. Guilt. Because the world has told you, over and over and over again, that wanting to stay home means something is wrong with you, that you're antisocial, that you're wasting your life, that the best years are passing you by while you sit there in your sweatpants doing nothing. So let me ask you something, gently. What if they're wrong? What if your love of home isn't a flaw to fix, but a signal to finally understand? Stay with me. Let's start with something that might surprise you. The desire to stay home, the deep, bone-level preference for solitude and familiar surroundings, isn't laziness. It isn't depression, although it can sometimes look like it from the outside. And it isn't a lack of ambition. It's neurological. Let me explain. Research in personality psychology, particularly the work around introversion by people like Hans Eysenck and later Dr. Marty Olson-Laney, has shown that introverted brains process stimulation differently. Literally, the neural pathways are different. If you're someone who loves staying home, your brain likely has a longer acetylcholine pathway, a neurotransmitter associated with inward attention, deep thinking, and calm focus. Your brain finds its reward not in external novelty, but in internal reflection. In depth, not breadth. Meanwhile, more extroverted brains run heavily on shorter dopamine pathways. They're wired to seek external stimulation, people, noise, novelty, movement. That's not better. It's just different wiring. So when you're at that party and everyone around you seems energized and you feel like you're slowly dissolving, that's not a character flaw. That's your nervous system telling you, this is costing more than it's giving. And there's another layer to this, a deeper one. Dr. Elaine Aron's research on highly sensitive people, or HSPs, found that roughly 15 to 20% of the population has a nervous system that processes sensory and emotional information more deeply than average. These are people who feel the emotional undercurrents in a room, who walk into a grocery store and actually feel the fluorescent lights. For people like this, home isn't avoidance. Home is recovery. Home is the place where the volume of the world finally turns down enough for you to hear yourself think. And here's something else worth sitting with. Sometimes our love of home also carries an emotional fingerprint. Maybe home was the one place that felt safe when the world didn't. Maybe you learned early, too early, that the outside world required a kind of performance, a mask, and home was where you could finally set it down. That's not weakness. That's intelligence. That's a child, and later, an adult, who figured out how to protect their peace in a world that wasn't always gentle with it. Now, here's where I want to flip everything you've been told, because our culture has a very specific bias. It rewards the loud, the busy, the out there. We glorify packed calendars, and we treat rest like something you have to earn rather than something you fundamentally need. And so, if you're someone who prefers quiet evenings to crowded bars, deep conversations to small talk, and your own living room to, well, most places, you probably spent a lot of your life feeling like you're falling behind. You're not falling behind. You're moving inward. And inward is where some of the most important things in life actually happen. Think about it. The people who love staying home, they tend to be the ones who build rich inner worlds. They're the readers, the thinkers, the ones who sit with an idea long enough to actually understand it. They're the friends who don't show up to everything, but when they do show up, they show up fully. They listen. They remember what you said 3 months ago. They notice when your smile doesn't reach your eyes. History's most creative minds, writers, philosophers, scientists, artists, were people who understood that genius doesn't come from constant motion. It comes from stillness, from the willingness to be alone with a thought and follow it all the way down. Isaac Newton formulated his most important theories during an extended period of isolation. Emily Dickinson wrote nearly 1,800 poems, almost entirely from her home. Nikola Tesla, the mind behind alternating current, was a committed solitary thinker. Your preference for home is not a limitation. It's a habitat. It's the environment where your particular kind of mind does its best, deepest, most authentic work. You are not less alive for staying in. You are alive differently. And that difference has value the world desperately needs, even if the world doesn't always know how to say so. Now, I'm not here to tell you to change. That's the last thing I want. But I know that loving home in an outward-facing world can sometimes feel lonely or frustrating, or like you're constantly having to explain yourself to people who just don't get it. So here are 3 gentle thoughts, not rules, just permission slips. 1. Stop apologizing for your needs. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing rest. "I'm staying in tonight" is a complete sentence. You don't need to fake a headache. You don't need to invent an excuse. You are an adult who knows what they need, and that is allowed. Practice saying it plainly without guilt, and watch how the right people in your life will simply say, "Okay, see you next time." 2. Design your social life around depth, not frequency. You don't need a wide circle. You need a true one. Instead of forcing yourself to attend every gathering, invest your energy in the kinds of connection that actually fill you up. A long phone call with someone who gets you, a quiet dinner with one friend, a walk with someone who's comfortable with silence. Quality over quantity isn't just a cliche for you. It's a survival strategy. Honor it. 3. Protect your recharge time, fiercely and unapologetically. Treat your alone time not as doing nothing, but as doing the most important thing, restoring the energy you need to show up as the version of yourself you actually like being. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you certainly can't think, create, or love from an overstimulated nervous system. Before you go, I want to leave you with something. If this video found you tonight, maybe curled up somewhere quiet, maybe alone, maybe wondering again if there's something wrong with you because you'd rather be here than out there, I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not boring. You are not missing out on life. You are living it on your own terms, at your own pace, in your own beautifully quiet way. And that takes more courage than most people will ever understand. The world is loud. You don't have to be. If this felt like something you needed to hear, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe. It's really helped my channel grow. I'll see you in the next one.